Well, hello everybody, it's Kyle, getting ready for another video about my trip on the Camino, which starts about a week from now. I actually leave to do a trip beforehand. I'm going to be in Paris, and so I'm going to go pack up. I leave on Wednesday, so this is everything that I plan to take. I'm going to go through every piece of gear, clothing, how to pack your bag, some things that I bring. So this is going to be a long one. So sit back and enjoy and get ready to enjoy the show. Because the first thing we're going to talk about to prep of what to bring. So I recommend do what I did, and I had a space in my living room that I started setting my gear out about a month ago. I really just started thinking about what I wanted to bring, start setting it out, really kind of review it. It takes time to really pack well. The other thing that you really need is a scale. And so I have this one that I got. It's digital, and it tells you in kilograms. And so really understanding the weight of everything you bring has tremendous impact on how well you're gonna hike, how sore you're gonna be. And you really wanna keep your weight down as much as possible. And it really starts thinking about, do I really need to bring this or not? And so I have a scale, and that's the first thing that I did to get ready for this. Now let's talk about backpacks. So the first thing, if you don't already have one and you go look to buy one, go work with a professional who will fit the bag for you. REI will have people, every outdoor store will have people that will work with you to make sure you get the right bag for your fit. Each bag comes in multiple sizes. You don't want to get the wrong size because it will ruin your hike. It'll chafe, or it'll be too sloppy on you, and you really want to get the right bag for your frame. I use a medium. I tend to stick with Osprey just because Osprey fits with me, but there's plenty of great bags out there. As you can see, I went with a 36 liter. It's a mid-size bag. Day bags usually get in the 20s. The longer bags get in the 50 to 70 if you want to go really long. So I went with a 36 liter, and it's a mid-size bag. You can see I already sewed on a Camino patch, and then I also had my name in USA stand sewn in on the top. This is really just to kind of add a little bit of uniqueness to my bag. When you go to these big hikes, there's gonna be a lot of bags out there, and you really want your bag to be able to, somebody doesn't pick up the wrong bag on accident. And so I added this on here as well. Now, my bag actually comes with a rain cover. If yours doesn't, go get one. These bags are not waterproof, and so this makes it waterproof. And so definitely go get a rain cover. It fits in the bottom. It's also where your sleeping bag would go. For my trip on the Camino, I'm gonna stay in hostels and not the albergs. And so the albergs, you would need a sleeping bag. Where I'm going, they have plenty enough covers and stuff, and I won't need it. And so in my part down here, it's only gonna be the rain cover. The first thing we're going to talk about is the most important thing, and that's the shoes that you bring. I have plenty of traditional hiking boots. I'm a big fan of Keen. I replace them every couple of years, and they just really work really well. These aren't 100% waterproof, and they're a little on the heavy side, but it's great when you need that extra support out on the trail. But for the Camino, it's going to be more about walking through the city. There's a lot of just gravel paths, and so I won't really need that kind of heavy duty boot that I'm used to using when I go out on the Appalachian Trail, or out here in the California on the hikes that I do here. So what I went with was, there's a brand called Hoka 11, and these are about 30% lighter than the traditional boot. They're very, very lightweight. They're Gore-Tex, they're waterproof, and so these are the ones that I went with. There's plenty of brands out there. I'm just telling you the ones that I went with, but I'm a big fan. I actually started wearing these twice a week to work, just so I could really get a feel for, are they comfortable? How do they fit? Are there gonna be hot spots in my feet? And so it's good to start, if you buy a new pair, really break them in and understand, and get a good feel for them and wear them as much as possible. So now we're gonna talk about trekking poles. Some people are pro and use them all the time, other people don't. I'm on definitely the pro side. I use two. Some people only use one. I think they really take the pressure off your knees. You can use your arms to kind of help you on things. Even if you see a snake on the road, you can easily just move aside with that, or briars or thorns or whatever else. It's always just a good thing to have, and I just found them really handy. This is a brand new set of poles that I got for Christmas from a really good friend of mine. And the way these work is they collapse, and then you just grab, and you pull, and you'll hear the click, and then now you're set. You can just hit the little button, and then they fold out. And so I have 2 of these. I'll be bringing these. The next thing we're going to talk about is your recovery shoes. So you've been walking for 6-7 hours in a day. You've gotten into your place you're going to stay. You definitely need to take off your shoes. It's going to be the first thing you're going to want to do. Your feet are going to be tired. You're going to sore. Now I've seen people bring Crocs, sandals. I have a very lightweight pair of boat shoes from Sperry. I've had these for years, just when I wear on my boat. You can wear them without socks. They have some really good foam, really good. I can even walk and hike in these, especially if it's in the city. So these are the pair that I'm bringing. But you definitely want to bring a second pair of something to give your feet a break when you're not on the trail. So I went with I'm always a big fan of the bladder versus the water bottle. It's so much easier to drink out of. I have a 2-liter bladder here. There's larger ones that you can definitely get. I own a 3-liter as well, but the 2-liter will be more than enough for when you're walking through the city. You'll have plenty of access to water along the way, so you don't really need to just bring a lot of a big bladder. It's just extra weight. It's 1 kilo per liter, and so this is already 2 kilos. I want to try to keep my bag below 10 kilos, and so you can see how water really adds up. Okay, now we're going to talk about the non-clothing gear that I need to bring. So the first thing, and it's definitely a luxury item, is I'm bringing my electric toothbrush. It's definitely heavier, definitely carries a lot, will take a lot more space, but I love my electric toothbrush, and I'm okay with adding extra weight for it. Standard flashlight. I'm not bringing extra batteries. I'm going to replace the batteries with brand new ones before I leave, and then I can always pick up new batteries along the way if I need it. But I'm going to save that weight and not get additional batteries. Toothpaste, deodorant, standard bar of soap that I keep in a Ziploc bag. Then I have a first aid kit. This first aid kit, there's just some basic things, some various ointments. There's a sunscreen in here. There's some Band-Aids, just some basic things like that. But it's always good to have. You never know when you need it. I have some cord. Cord is always good for a million different reasons, but for this one is to be hanging your clothes up. After you wash them, you'll need a clothesline. A lot of places don't have one, so I can make my own clothesline here. So I will definitely bring this. I'll be bringing a big spare battery, and so this will charge my phone, my watch, along those lines. It's big enough that it actually charges my phone twice, and so I've had it now for a couple of years. It's something I always just travel with. You never know if you can't get to a plug. This is a real lifesaver. I'll be bringing this along. Powder, always powder the beans. It definitely keeps you from chafing, for your feet as well. And so I always hike with baby powder. And as you can see, what I've done is I've wrapped the bottle in some duct tape. Duct tape is one of those things that you could always use, and so it's easy to, I don't want to bring a whole roll, but I'll just do about 10 feet around here. And then if you get a hole in something, or even if you get a blister, or if you feel a hot spot, not if you don't have if you have a blister, you treat it differently, but if you just start kind of feeling you get a hot spot, you can actually put a piece of duct tape on your heel or on your toe, and it'll give you some extra protection, and it will stop that rubbing. And so I've always done this. It's worked out well. My Camino shell that shows that I'm a pilgrim. My laundry detergent. I need about a spoonful for every time I do a sink full of laundry. And so this is what this is. Chapstick, I never go anywhere out of it. I'm always using chapstick. I also have 2 of these little Velcro straps. I've always just kind of kept these in my bag. Some people use carabiners. I like little Velcro straps. It's just one of those things you never know when you need to kind of tie things together. I just had, they're super lightweight, so I just have two. I just kind of put on the bag. And then lastly is I have a little pocket knife. And so this is a Leatherman squirt. And so it comes with the little pliers that folds up nice and small. There's a knife, screwdriver, bottle opener, and some scissors on here. And so this is what I'll be bringing with me. And that is the gear. So one of the things you need to make sure and bring is plenty of cash. A lot of these little rural towns only accept cash. They don't accept credit cards. Some of the hostels and albergs along those lines for meals. So make sure and bring plenty of cash for you when you. And so I have the guidebook, standard one that everybody, it's been translated into many different languages. It gives you really great information about routes and what's in each city along the way. So definitely get a guidebook. And then I have a document case here that, and it has like different things, different zippers. I'll keep my passport, my credentials, my cash, all that here. I'll just leave this in my backpack, but when I get to the albergs or when I get to hostels, I'll just take this out and I'll carry it with me, and it's a good, safe way to keep everything you need right here. And so in here, I have my credentials. And so this is the booklet you get to hold all your stamps that you get along the way. So to make sure and get certified that you completed the Camino is when you get to the Compostela, they'll look over your credentials and see that they'll ask you, where did you start? You have to have done at least 100 kilometers to qualify, and you need 2 stamps per day. And so the stamps you can receive where you stop for lunch, where you at the albergs, at the hostels, wherever you go, people will have a stamp everywhere. So this is where you store those. You can see I have a stamp already from the Compostela. This shows that this is an official credential, and so I will keep this in this bag as well. I also have my regular passport that I'll keep in here, along with cash. My outerwear, I have a couple of different things, and so one is standard gloves, nothing too exciting here, just basic gloves from Colombia. They're warm, but they're not waterproof. And so what I did to make them waterproof is I bought some Gore-Tex shells that will go over. There's basic mittens, and so you can see it'll fit right over, no problem. And it's nice and warm. It'll add some warmth to it. I can wear just the mitten by itself, where I don't even need the glove if it's a little warm outside. But if it's raining, which it will rain, if you do this for several weeks, even a week, it's going to rain one day. So making sure that you have stuff that's waterproof is essential. And so you don't want to be cold, rainy, and have your bare hand out there. And so that's why I have these. These are just really great. I have the standard knit cap, keep my head warm. Then I have these. If you haven't seen these before, these are what we call gaiters. And so they fit, so they're attached with Velcro. And so they fit on the heel of your shoe. And you Velcro it around, and you can see it now turns your shoe, and what it'll do is it'll keep debris out of your shoe, it'll keep rain out of your shoe. So if you don't, and as you're walking, you'll get rain that'll come down your pants and go inside your shoe. So even though these are waterproof, this upper part here isn't. And so you want to make sure and keep the water dripping down. And so these gaiters work great for if it's snowing, if it's raining, even if you're just walking through brush and get grass and thorns and other things, briars or burrs inside your shoe. This will solve that they're Gore-Tex, they're waterproof, and so a great thing to really bring. I love my gaiters. I take them every time I hike. Last for the outerwear is some Gore-Tex pant covers, and so these are great to keep you nice and dry. They're light. I got them in Chicago. Definitely works well in the snow. It adds another layer of warmth, and so these will keep you even warmer, but they'll also keep you very, very dry. Love them. Use them. Now for the jackets, so I have a shmog that I got when I was in Israel. Love it. I carry it with me everywhere, even when I'm just traveling for work. It's just a really, really great piece of gear that you can have. You can use it 1,000 different ways. You can see it's really just a big square cloth. You can use it as a blanket to keep warm. If you fold it in a triangle and spin it around, you now have a scarf. And so this can be used to go around your mouth, over your head. You can use it as a sling. You can use a shmog in 1,000 different ways. It's a great piece of gear to bring. I carry it everywhere. For my warmth layer, I am using a Eddie Bauer puffy jacket down. It's 800 fill. It's very, very lightweight. They're everywhere, and you can pick these up. I see just about everybody wearing these nowadays because they're so practical, and they're just really, really warm. And so one thing to keep in mind is that number is the fill power. So this one's 800. That's the volume that 1 gram of feathers fills. And so the bigger the volume, the more insulation it has, and the lighter it is. And so an 800 fill jacket, you take a 600 one, the 600 one has to be much thicker than this one. And so if you get really high quality down, it stays really, really warm, but it's super, super lightweight and very thin. And so this one actually collapses down to almost nothing, to the size of a baseball, maybe a softball. But it's one of my go-to jackets. I've just carried all over the world. It's just great because it packs so much, but it's super, super warm. And I'll be using this as my warmth layer. Usually when I start hiking, I get warm enough that I don't need this, and so, but it's nice to go with layers. And that's why getting one big thick jacket is probably not the best approach. I like having a bunch of little jackets. That way I can bring stuff on and off and mix and match which makes sense for the weather. As my outer shell, I have a Gore-Tex Arc'teryx jacket. It's just the standard shell that you've seen, but it's absolutely great. It'll keep me nice and dry. Between this, my Gore-Tex jacket, my Gore-Tex pants, the gaiters, my Gore-Tex shoes, I'll be more than dry on the trail. Clothes I plan to bring, I'm gonna do 3 pairs of smart wool socks, merino wool. Definitely, you've heard me in several videos talk about how much I love smart wool or merino wool. Especially if your feet get super hot, these are just amazing. They dry quick, they're just super comfortable. Get merino wool. I have 2 short sleeve and 2 long sleeve shirts here that I'm playing. This is just standard Nike workout gear that I have. It's just basic shirts, and so these dry really quick. They're very comfortable. They wick moisture away from your body. They fit close, and so you don't get any chafing and bunching from like cotton does. And so I have two short sleeve and 2 long sleeve that I'll be bringing. I have a pair of standard long johns. I doubt I'll wear these during my hike, just because taking on and off long johns requires a lot of effort. If you get too hot, you need to start stripping down, and so that's why I'll use my Gore-Tex layer. If I get super cold, I want something to cover my legs. I'll probably use these only to sleep in at night if it gets a little cold, and I'll use these. I have 3 pieces of underwear that are made out of spandex and nylon. Super, super easy to dry. They dry really quickly. They're easy to wash. Very comfortable, and I have these. So one thing that you'll note between all of my gear that I have is none of them are the same color. And so one of the things that you'll do when you go shopping for gear is you'll see something that fits really well, and it's like, oh, I just get 3 the same color. I caution against it just because in situations like this, sometimes it's a little tricky to remember exactly what's clean and what's dirty. But if you have different colors, it'll help you remember when it's like, oh, okay, I wore the blue ones, I know those are going in the dirty pile. So do that. Hiking pants, pretty standard. I go with the Cool brand. These are convertible. They slip into shorts. Not that I'll need probably shorts out there, but that's always nice to have. It's also nice, the reason I like convertible is if you're hiking and you get something dirty, it's probably gonna be the leg, and it's really easy to zip these off and wash just the leg, and this other will still stay dry. You don't have to worry about doing the whole thing. And so I'm bringing 2 pairs of pants. I'll wear one, I'll pack one, and that is all my clothes that I'm bringing. So another gift I got recently that I've just fallen in love with, and I use this even when I travel for work in just a regular suitcase, is one of the things that's tough when you start packing your bag is if you just throw everything in there in just one big pile, things get loose. It's really hard to find what you want. It gets messy in there. It's hard to keep organized. And so what I got as a present was these trip bags. And these are water resistant bags that are compression bags. And so you can see there's 2 zippers, one that opens it up and one that compresses it. So we'll start with it uncompressed, and so then I can put all my clothes in one bag. And this will not only keep everything organized, but I'll bring an extra bag for dirty clothes. So you zip up the first one, so you can see, and then there's a second one here that actually compresses everything down. So, how great is that? So now all my clothes are in one bag. I can put this in, I can take this out. It even has a handle, and so I can bring this with me. If I want to pull this out and go do laundry, I have a bag with me. It's always great. When you buy a set. They come with a bunch of different sizes. And so you can see there's big, there's small ones. There's even one for shoes. Love these. Like I said, when I travel, I put these on. It just makes everything so organized. And so I have several of these bags that I'm gonna bring. This is my one that I'm gonna do all my toiletries and stuff in. And so it's just really nice just to put all this stuff in there and know exactly what is in each bag. Keeps everything separated. Very, very nice and neat. So now I have toiletry bag, I have my clothes bag. I'll do one for the outside gear. So I'll put my gaiters. Gaiters, my hat, my pants. So now I have 3 bags all ready to go. The last one I'll use is to put my, I'll probably wear my jacket most, but I'll go ahead and put one in there as well. And then I have one for dirty clothes. So yes, big fan. Now we're gonna talk about how to pack your backpack. It really matters how the weight is distributed. You want it as close to your body as possible. That's why you don't want a really big bag. You want the weight that's because something's gonna be heavy is down at the bottom, but then you also have to balance about things that you're gonna pull out and use a lot. And so I'm gonna walk through on how to pack your bag in the best way. Okay, so first thing we're gonna start off with is my clothing bag. And so this is definitely the heaviest. This is something I'm not gonna need throughout the day on the trail. And so I'm just gonna put it all the way down at the bottom, flat against the back. And so the other things that I have my toiletries, and this is my outdoor gear that I need, my gaiters and stuff. And so for my toiletries, I'm gonna put those in there next. Put those in there. My recovery shoes as well. I usually store my battery inside my shoe. It's something that I can get to easily, but it's not just loose in my bag. And then I put this on top, and I put the schmog after everything. And so one thing that is a common mistake that I see people do all the time when they're backpacking is there's some really handy pockets on the top of the backpack. And so people tend to stuff a lot in here, and it makes your bag top heavy, and that will really impact your quality of your hike. And so really try to minimize how much you put in these two top ones. I really try to put as little as possible in there. And so what I have in mind is really just the two things. I have my document case and my guidebook. It's two things I'm gonna be getting in and out of a lot, and so I'm gonna leave those in there. And then so on this outside pocket that I have, I'm gonna put my outdoor gear that I have there, just to, because it's something I'm gonna probably get into a lot. And so, so then, lastly, I have these waist pockets. This is where I'll put my flashlight, my knife, and my chapstick. And there we are. And so what you'll see on the side of your bag is these compression straps. And so what you want to do is really cinch down your bag and get it as compressed as possible. So you want to pull all the straps and get them nice and tight and pull that bag against the frame as much as possible. Straps everywhere. And that's what you want to do. So you want to just keep pulling down and really get that bag as thin as possible. And you can see nice and lean, all ready to go. And so the last thing I have to do is my scale. We'll see what we're at. 6.7 kilos, so in really good shape. So added the 2 kilos for water, I'm looking at a little, just around 9 kilos. That's around 20 pounds. So we're in really, really good shape. So this is how you pack your suitcase. So the last thing to do is to weigh it. So we're sitting at right about 7 kilos, exactly where I wanted to be. Then we're gonna add in 2 kilos for water. So it's 8 kilos, a little over 20 pounds. It's absolutely perfect. And so now you see how to pack your backpack. All set and ready to go. that's it for the gear review. So hopefully you're all set, and I'll see you on the trail. Buen camino.